Lenovo is a kind of a brand that is known for its aggressive pricing. We saw it with the flagship Vibe X2 launched last year and we noticed it this year too. As the most affordable 4G smartphone, the Lenovo A6000 has been launched in India by challenging the likes of Xiaomi Redmi Note 4G and the Eureka with little lesser pricing than both of these phablets. The A6000 is available to the purchase at a price of Rs 6999 and we have been testing this device for past couple of weeks and here's the review. The 5-inch form factor of the device makes it feel cozy to hold this device, while the back is a little bit of slippery, but the compact size makes it easy enough to hold in one hand. It feels like the back cover uses the material that we saw on the Eureka, and although it does seem that A6000 is taking much fewer smudges and finger marks than Eureka did. According to the pricing, it may certainly have a premium look and feel, as the build quality is quite good too. On the back, there is an 8 megapixel rear camera that is in line with the back panel, while the dual Dolby speakers placed on the bottom of the back are suspected to be quite good. The back cover is unusually too easy to remove from either side. You will find a 2300 mAh removable battery under the hood, along with the slots for 2 SIM cards and a micro SD card. And one of those SIM card slots supports 4G LTE connectivity. The volume and the power buttons are placed quite well. To give it a slimmer feel, company has put little curves on the back edges of the device, and we thought it had worked as the device feels quite slimmer for a thickness of 8.99 mm. The 5-inch 720p display is one of the areas where the company has compromised over quality because there is no Gorilla Glass protection on the display. There might be a reason for that frictional touch feeling that takes away all the smooth touch experience on the phone. Though if we talk about the color output on the A6000, they were quite good. The accuracy of the colors is pretty great, as it doesn't have to seem to have much saturation unlike the Eureka. Although the screen is a bit reflective, thus it gives hard time viewing under sunlight or even if there is a bright light source against the screen. The smartphone runs on Android 4.4.4 KitKat and it's delight to know that it will be updated to Android Lollipop very soon, as Lenovo has already confirmed it in its recent blog post. And the company wants to bring great software experience to the users. The Vibe UI looks impressive on the A6000, though it has changed some elements like the notification panel and the recent apps menu when you compare it with the Lenovo's own recent smartphones. Like most of the mobile vendors, Lenovo has a pre-installed app list such as Facebook, Twitter in the social media side, and there are some apps like Share It, Sync It, Security and File Browser that can be quite useful in some situations. The Vibe UI has no app drawer and it might be displeasing for some users out there. To counter that, the company has made available few personalization options under the desktop settings. There you have options like wallpaper scrolling, swipe to change the wallpaper, as well as transition effects for the home screen. Other than that, there is not much of customization that has been done in terms of appearance, as there are only 2 themes available for the device and you can't download more than those. The A6000 is powered by a 64-bit Snapdragon 410 processor, which surely performs well. With an overall great performance for the price range, the device is a little beast. Though we might experience some issues when multitasking level was too high for the device, and since there's only 1GB of RAM on it, the app switching gets little slow when you have more than 10 apps running in the background. Now talking about the benchmarks, the scores are quite low. It is all because of the 1GB RAM, as the device would be left with a handful of free RAM. Although that didn't take away the gaming experience we had played with the Asphalt 8 and other heavy games such as the GTA Vice City. For a fact, the gaming got much better with the Dolby speaker output, although if we take the actual gaming performance in account, then it is similar experience on the Eureka, while the Redmi Note 4G had way lower bad experience when compared to these both devices. The battery capacity of 2300 mAh seems to be decent on the A6000. It can easily last throughout the day. It is quite better when we compare it to the Eureka's 2500 mAh battery, which won't even last more than half a day. Considering you play a few minutes of gaming on both A6000 and Eureka, the battery would be much faster on the later one. It is all because Eureka heats up a lot while A6000 barely heated up to 45 degrees on maximum gaming, and that would be even more than half an hour. All this considering that it has the same 720p display. While the Dolby loudspeaker was on, the device got drained by 21% of battery for about 45% of playback, and if it was used with the headphones, the battery drain was reduced quite easily. Talking about the connectivity, the 3G standby time was pretty amazing, as it was 6% battery drop noticed on a 12-hour overnight period, All in all, the 2300 mAh battery was our companion for all day, giving about 2 hours 45 minutes of screen on time, 1 hour of calling and occasional data usage, although we weren't able to test the 4G LTE connectivity given its low range. The rear camera on the A6000 with an 8MP sensor is not that good compared to the 13MP sensor on the Eureka and the Redmi Note 4G, but overall, the camera results didn't give us any chance to take it negatively. It's a fact that getting a decent camera from a well-known brand is something, and that is what Lenovo has done here. While the front-facing camera doesn't have great quality, but is decent enough for video chats. The low light captures didn't produce great results, but then you can't expect a ISO rate from a budget-friendly smartphone. However, the Asus Zenfone 5 is an exception, but the camera doesn't give too many reasons to be hated, as the bright light captures were quite appreciable. The interesting point to note about the camera app is that the autofocus is too quick, which certainly helped in wasting no time to capture quick moments. Now talking about the cons. First thing that is not to like the device is the Corning Gorilla Glass protection, which is not available here, making it prone to damage of the display. Talking about the second one, it is the cameras. When you compare this with the other budget range with the 4G LTE connectivity, that's the Eureka and the Xiaomi Redmi Note 4G, the camera module might not be enough for the photography enthusiasts out there. The third and last is the battery capacity again, because although it has a good battery that lasts for around a day, that is nowhere in comparison to the Xiaomi Redmi Note's 3000 mAh battery. Now the final words, cutting it short, there isn't a better smartphone you could expect under a 7000 rupees price range if you are in a market for a 4G device, which has a great build quality and a good software to support it. Except the 4G LTE connectivity, there are some other advantages on the A6000. You get the Dolby speakers, Snapdragon 14 chipset and a decent software interface. The Xiaomi Redmi Note 4G and Eureka have a better battery capacity than the Lenovo A6000, but only the Redmi Note 4G can outrun the standby time on the battery of A6000. While Eureka can't dare to go a step further as it has a heating issue. So if you are hunting for a budget-friendly 4G smartphone and a good battery life, this can be your choice. Keeping in mind that the device would get Android Lollipop update as promised by the company, it is surely worth the device. So this was the review of the Lenovo A6000. Stay subscribed to Phone Data for more videos. Thank you.